Hello everyone! In this week's video, I'm doing a diamond painting. As some of you know, back in August in this video, I said that I wanted to turn this art piece into a diamond painting. I've never done a diamond painting before, but it's something I've always wanted to try. So after I finished the art, I sent it to a company to have it made into a diamond painting. I decided to go with Heartful Diamonds. This video isn't sponsored by them, I just thought they seemed like a good option. So after I submitted my order, they sent over a preview for me to approve, and once I approved it, I received my diamond painting in the mail a few weeks later. First we have all the diamonds. I think I've also heard people call these beads or drills. I'll probably just call them diamonds for simplicity. So yeah, we have a bunch of different colors, and we get different amounts based off of the colors in the picture. And here we have the painting itself. It is 30 by 40 centimeters, or 11.8 by 15.7 inches. Basically, this is covered with a grid, and in each square, there is a symbol, and the symbol tells me which color diamond I need to place. I decided to count how many diamonds tall and wide the picture is, and it is 160 diamonds tall and 120 diamonds wide. So according to my math, that is 19,200 diamonds in total. Wow, that's a lot of diamonds. I guess let's get started. Oh, and along with the diamond painting, we got these tools. We have extra bags, a tray for the diamonds. Then we have these, I think they're called pens. But the way these work is that you press the tips into wax so that the tips get filled with the wax. And then this will allow us to pick up and place the diamonds. We also have these different tips so you can place different amount of diamonds at the same time. So my idea for how I am going to go about doing this is I will count out a 20 by 20 square. I mark it with my pen and cut off the plastic with my X-Acto knife. Now we are ready to start placing 19,200 diamonds. Oh, but first I need to fill the tray with the diamonds. I decided to start with the light yellow ones. To fill the tray, I dumped in the diamonds and kind of shake the tray to make them lay flat. I needed the bumpy side to be on top and the flat side to be on the bottom. I was having kind of a hard time doing this at first, but I get better at it as time goes on. And now we can start placing. For this first square, I am mostly placing each diamond one by one, since I am new to this, so I was a bit hesitant to try to start placing more than one diamond at a time. Also, I do apologize that this camera angle isn't the best for this square. I record at a different angle later in the video, and it'll be easier to see. So because I am just placing diamonds, I don't know how much I can talk about that for the entirety of this video. I mean, I can talk about it a decent amount, but probably not enough to keep things super interesting. And so I decided to also treat this video as a bit of a log as to what I did for the last few months. And for each square, I'll kind of tell you what I was doing that day. So I started this first square on September 22nd, and I'm going to be honest, I have no idea what else I did that day. I didn't have the idea to keep this as more of a log until I got a little bit more into this process. And when I did have the idea to keep this as a log, I started talking a bit about my days within the footage itself, kind of like a note to my future self. Plus for this log, I'm relying a lot on the messages I send to my husband when he's at work, because he'll text me asking how my day is going, and I'll say what I've been up to. But for some reason, we don't have any messages between us from September 20th to September 24th. I'm assuming my husband didn't work those days, because the only times we don't really text each other is when he's not working, because then we are with each other. So yeah, I don't really know what I was doing on September 22nd, but I did learn very quickly while doing this that you need to place the diamonds very close together, like very tightly placed. At first I was letting them be maybe just a little bit looser or just like a little bit of space. They weren't like shoved super tightly together. But yeah, you basically want to place them as close together as you can. I get better at placing them closer together as time goes on. I didn't really think there'd be like too much skill when it came to diamond painting, but there is definitely like a skill to it. I felt very clunky and not very good at it when I was starting this first square. So yeah, here is the first square, and I promise for most of the squares I probably won't be able to talk as much about them since there are a lot to go through, but let's keep moving. It was now September 25th, and I moved on to the second square, and I actually finished 2 squares this day since I had more time. Thankfully for this one, I chose a different angle. I was also feeling a little bit more confident in my diamond placing abilities, so I tried using the tip that let me place 3 diamonds at a time, and this did speed up the process a lot. This square is still pretty boring since it is all yellow. When I planned out this illustration, the plan was to keep the colors all flat without much variation. That way I wouldn't get a bunch of different colors for the diamonds. I had made a diamond painting before this one, but I didn't even start working on it. And the reason being is that the picture I used had a lot of soft gradients in it. And this made it so the picture had a lot of subtle variations in the diamonds. And it looked like a real pain to do. Like the skin was a combination of two ever so slightly different colors that alternated depending on the shading, and it just didn't look fun to do. Oh, and the company I worked with for the first one didn't provide a preview, so there was no way of knowing about this beforehand. So yeah, to hopefully avoid this for this picture, I tried to mostly use flat colors and no gradients. However, this didn't totally work, and we'll talk about that when we get to it. But because I did use flat colors, that makes some of the areas very easy and simple, which is probably good since I am a beginner at this. This day was a pretty normal day. My energy was kinda low, but I still got a lot done. I was mostly working on writing script for my animating in Ibis Paint video. I don't know if I've ever really talked about it in my videos, but I do script my videos. It just makes the overall process easier because I have all my thoughts written out. However, I do go off the script sometimes, like right now I'm going off the script. So I do ad-lib a good amount, but I do also read off my script, just to make the overall process easier. September 26th had a slightly more interesting square. I had some of the sun design that is on Samson's hoodie, and some of the drawstring from his hood. Also, I forgot to mention that the character in this painting is my OC Samson. He is a character I made for my visual novel game that I released back around Valentine's Day of 2022. For Samson's personality, he is fun and playful. He's outgoing and likes to help others. However, if a task is boring or maybe a lot of work, he does lose his enthusiasm. It's kind of funny because when I designed Finley and Samson, I thought Finley would be my favorite. But I have found that I prefer to draw Samson. I don't know, his curly hair is fun to draw and I really like his colors. This hoodie outfit is one I kind of randomly put him in, but I really like it. I like the combination of the yellow with his blue hair. September 27th square had the other drawstring and had a bit more of the sun design. It is funny because when you're up close, it doesn't really look like a string. It just looks like a bunch of different colors next to each other. But if you trust the process and just keep going, once you're done and you back away from the painting, it magically turns into a string. September 27th was a wonderful day because my husband brought home turtle chips. These were a random thing we decided to try. They are basically a chocolate churro kind of thing, and they are so yummy. Sadly, we do not have any more as they are no longer available at the stores that we go to, but we really loved them and miss them dearly. For September 28th, I wanted to start by showing you the buttons I had gotten. These were some that I ordered from my store to see if I was happy with the quality of them, and thankfully I was. So if you want these, they're available on my online store. But anyways, this was the last square for this row, and I was able to get it done very fast. As you can see, I was now feeling confident enough to use the tip that places like 10 diamonds at a time, and I got this square done in about 20 minutes. Also, I do apologize if I spend less time talking about each square as we go on. There are a lot of squares and only so much time, so I have to keep moving. But because I did finish that last square of the row so quickly, I was feeling ambitious and decided that I should try doing a 40 by 40 square. Now, in my dumb little head, I was like, yeah, this will only take twice as long because 40 is twice as much as 20. But then I realized that this is equal to 4 squares, so it's 4 times the amount I was doing. But I was already committed, so I stuck with it. I did have to give up after a little while, and I worked on the square a little bit the next day, but I got them all done. Because this 40 by 40 square covered a large area, I did work into the area of the hoodie a bit. Something I found interesting is that to make the color for the shading of the hoodie, it had the diamonds alternate between 2 different colors. When you're up close, you don't really notice the effect, but when you step back and look at it from afar, the area appears to be a kind of darker yellow that works well for shading the hoodie. And I thought this was kind of cool. This is a common thing that diamond painting companies do when they don't have a close color match for the color in your picture. They kind of just alternate colors to sort of make the illusion of the color. Also, I did redo this area a bit. I didn't like that you couldn't see the rest of Samson's neck area, so I filled this square in with darker pink colors that is used for the shading on his neck, so we can kind of see the trap muscle more. I needed a bit of a break from the painting, but I came back to it on October 2nd. I decided it would be best to stick with the 20 by 20 squares. A lot of times I would get them done anywhere between 20 and 40 minutes, depending on the complexity, and this was easier to fit in alongside my usual work schedule because I was working on this alongside all of my normal work. On this day, I'd spend most of my morning working on my Live 2D rig, even though I was supposed to be scripting my universe swap video. For the square on October 3rd, I noticed I was having a hard time placing the diamonds, and I was making more mistakes. Like when I would place the diamonds, they would be wonky or some wouldn't lay right. I felt like it was because all the diamonds were now on my right instead of on my left, and this was making the angle awkward since I'm right-handed. So I flipped the painting upside down, and I did find that helped a bit. October 4th was a pretty normal day, and the square doesn't have much that's interesting about it. I spent most of the day finishing up my Live 2D model. Also, my camera battery died, and I was too lazy to change it. So sorry you don't get to see me finish this square. Oh, and I guess I finished the last square for this row on that same day as well. I didn't bother recording all of it because it's all just yellow. You've seen a ton of this by now. For October 5th, I had now moved on to the third row. I know it looks like I already did some squares in this row, but this was just a part of the 40 by 40 square I did. Don't worry, I'm trying my best to show you each and every square. I need you to live through this with me, even if you only see a portion of the process. This square was nice because I got to work with more of the skin tone. I do have to say, I was a bit nervous about the color that was chosen for Samson's skin. It seemed a bit too light and maybe a little too vibrant. So at this point, I was just hoping that once I laid down the other colors that this would look nice. I took a bit of a break from the painting because my husband and I were going to be going on a trip, and I had to work ahead on all of my video stuff. But I did come back to the painting for a little bit on October 10th. But as I was working on this square, I noticed something. I accidentally dumped the skin tone shading color into the skin tone bag. So I had to spend the rest of the time I allotted to work on the painting sorting out the colors instead. I did not want to keep these mixed up since I still had to use the skin tone a lot. So I figured it would be better to sort out the shadow color. Thankfully, this didn't take too long. But I did have to come back the next day, October 11th, to finish what I started. October 11th was a wild goose chase of a day. This was the day I had biked over to my parents to get some art supplies that got shipped there. But then when I came back home, I couldn't find my light pad, and it was a whole thing. I talk about it more in this video if you want to hear the whole story. We jump forward to October 19th. I had gone on a trip with my husband. I talk about it a lot in this video. We had gone to my husband's hometown and we went to a big pumpkin patch fall festival kind of thing, and it was a lot of fun. Also, I don't really like the quality of this footage, and the later half of it is kind of botched, so we'll just keep moving. On October 26th, I had received my sewing machine in the mail. I had been thinking about getting one and finally decided to do so. I didn't do much with it that day, if I remember right. I still needed to learn about it and how to use it, but I have been learning how to use it. I have finished a few projects, one of them being pillow covers with zippers. I'm the most proud of how these turned out. I kept wanting Christmas pillows for the couches, but we don't have much room for storing extra things like seasonal items. So instead of buying new pillows, I decided to make festive pillow covers for our current pillows. Cases are way easier to store. And now row 3 was done. I was feeling a bit discouraged since I had been working on this for a little over a month now, and I had only finished 3 rows. But I didn't want to give up, so I just kept going one square at a time. On October 27th, I was feeling very tired and didn't want to worry about filming the whole process, so I didn't. But here is the before and after. At this point, I wasn't feeling as much of a need to record every square, since I had already recorded like 9 hours of footage. There is so much footage for this video, and I'm kind of nervous to edit it all. Also, apparently I didn't record the square that I did on November 1st. But on November 5th, I did multiple squares, and for these ones, I had to cut them in an interesting way. You see, I wanted to save the face for last, so this required me to work around the face. In order to do that, I needed to cut the plastic around the squares of the face. The reason I wanted to save the face for last is because the face is the part I was the most excited about, so I wanted to put it off until the end to help me stay motivated. I feel kind of bad that we have to go through each square so fast, but like I said, there's a lot of footage to get through, and I don't want to make this like a super duper long video. On November 7th, I moved on to the right side, and for the right side, I stopped sectioning it into 20 by 20 squares. I would make them be 20 diamonds tall, but for the width, I just did whatever was necessary to fill in the rest of the painting along the right side of the face. Also, you may notice that for a lot of these squares, I've been using the tip that places 3 diamonds at a time. And I know the bigger tip can place 10 at a time, and that sounds more efficient. But I kept having to adjust the diamonds a lot because I would put them down a little wonky. Since 10 diamonds were being placed at the same time, it's a little harder to get them to all line up and be perfect. Because I was having to adjust the diamonds so much, it felt easier to just place 3 at a time and do less adjusting. So that's what I did for a lot of this painting. For November 9th, we were back to yellow with the sleeve. For a lot of the square, I was talking with my sister on the phone. We were mostly just catching up and talking about random things. And my sister was cleaning out Coco's cage. Coco is my family's pet bunny. I never knew how much bunnies, went poop until we got Coco. He poops a lot. I'm kind of happy I don't have to live with him now. But he is super cute. I also did a second square on November 9th. I was still talking with my sister, so I decided to do another square. Something I did find interesting for this square is that the outline of the hand has a lot of different colors, even though in my picture the line art is just brown. And I know this is because when it gets converted into a diamond painting, it's basically pixelating my art. And so for the edges, the colors kind of start to mix. It is a bit of a pain having to switch between all the different colors because I only have the one tray. But at the same time, I like looking at all the different colors, and I do think it looks kind of cool. November 12th may be a bit odd, but I thought maybe you would like seeing a more zoomed out view. You can see more of the workspace around me. Of course, this does make it hard to see the area I'm actually working on, but it's not like it's really anything new. I don't know, I just thought I would try changing it up a little bit. I only filmed the little hair portion and didn't bother to film the white part because at this point I was trying to conserve memory space on my memory card. I know I can transfer files from my memory card to my computer, but my computer sometimes does this weird thing where it deletes footage randomly that I move from my SD card, and I don't know why, so I don't really trust moving stuff to my computer. And we jump from November 12th all the way to November 30th. This is the period where I was sick for like 2 weeks, and during that time, I was really just trying to focus on getting YouTube videos done and not worrying about side projects. When I get sick, I often get hit pretty hard, and this last time I was sick, it really flared up my asthma. It was the worst it has been in a really long time, and it was not fun. I was getting so tired of feeling sick and not being able to just breathe normally. But I am happy I feel much better now. For December 1st, the lighting wasn't wanting to work with me, so sorry about the glare. On this day, I had cleaned the whole apartment. Our apartment doesn't get that dirty, but I wanted to give it like a deep cleaning, like mopping the floors, vacuuming the carpets, scrubbing the sinks, all that stuff. I spent a good amount of time cleaning my bathroom. Our apartment has 2 bathrooms, and because of space, my husband and I kind of just each took one. And yeah, my bathroom needed a lot of help. It was very messy. I've been trying to be better about putting all my stuff away after I use it. If it's a space that is shared with my husband, I do a pretty decent job with putting my stuff away because I don't want to like make the area we share messy. But if it's a space that's more my own, like my office or my bathroom, I tend to be a little bit more messy. My husband's more tidy than I am, but I don't like it when things are super messy. It makes me feel overwhelmed. So if it starts to reach that point, that's when I clean my stuff up. And at this point, we only have the final row and the face left. To make it so I have a bit less footage to edit, I didn't film most of the top row. Sorry if you really wanted to see that, but I did take pictures for each square. Plus, I did film the last square for this row on December 10th. But now, it's almost time for the face. Finally. We just need to make it through this row of hair and forehead. I did all of the squares for the hair and forehead portion on December 14th. At this point, I was working on the painting to be this week's video, so I only had a few days left to work on this. I feel like I should try to talk through all of these squares, but we are kind of running out of time for this video, so I think we should move on to a more interesting part that I did, being the eye. I was really excited to work on the eyes, but at the same time, they use a lot of different colors, so I knew they would also be a bit of a pain. Even so, I didn't mind. I was just happy to finally be working on the face and getting closer and closer to finishing this project that I have been working on for so long. And I know so far I've been breaking down the project into days, but for this part where I'm working on the face, I think I'm going to let myself ramble a bit, but I will still put the dates on screen for you. But yeah, I worked on this project for so long. Each square, like I said, took me anywhere from 20 to 40 minutes. Some squares did take me longer, like an hour or so, especially some of these ones on the face that are larger. I can't really do the math right now as to how long it took. Maybe I'll try to do the math and put it up on screen. But I have like 13 hours of footage and I didn't even record the entire process. This painting probably took me like close to 20 hours or something. The eye was super cool and fun to work on. I love seeing all the different colors come together. As usual, I was nervous when looking at the eye close up. I wasn't sure if it'd look right, but when I take a step back and look from a bit of a distance, I feel like it looks really nice. I had actually allotted a good amount of time for me to finish the face. Since this was going to be this week's video, I was able to focus on it, and I probably could have finished the whole face in one day. However, my arm did not agree with me. About halfway through working on the first eye, my arm started to really hurt from the repetitive movements, and so I decided it would be better to take my time. And because I did spread this out over a few days and I had a little bit more free time, I was able to focus a bit more on Christmas prep. And I also went out Christmas shopping with my mom. Since I don't live at home anymore, I really like when I get to spend time with my family. And I was always a big part of helping my mom prepare for Christmas. Like I do the shopping with her, help with decorating, wrapping, all that stuff. And so it's been weird this year not helping as much of that. I've been texting my siblings trying to make sure they're doing things to help out. I'm trying to pass on the baton, so to speak. But I'm happy I still get to help out a bit. I really like Christmas shopping and preparing for Christmas. Oh, also during this time, my husband and I celebrated my birthday. It wasn't actually my birthday, but he was scheduled to work on my actual birthday, so we celebrated on his day off. We went to Texas Roadhouse. I love their bread, it's so good. We went to GameStop and got Pokemon cards, and we also went to Michael's and I got some sketchbooks. I got a mixed media one and a watercolor one because I needed more of that kind of paper on hand for when I do videos or projects. I'm trying really hard to not start another sketchbook since I'm still trying to complete my current one. It's taking a lot of willpower. But after all that, my husband and I came home and I opened presents from him. One of the things he got me is a Squishmallow Christmas ornament set. And they are all so cute. And I have them placed all around the apartment. Okay, we are finally at the final portion of this diamond painting. After weeks and weeks, it's finally going to be done. You have no idea how excited I was for this to be done. For this part, I will play it with the original audio so that we can take in this final moment together.
The final one. Hallelujah. Oh, it's done. It's done.
So, what do I think of diamond paintings? Since this was my first one, I feel like I should have started with a smaller project. I did not realize the task I was taking on when I started. That being said, overall, I did like it. It was a relaxing project to work on after I had finished all my other work. However, I don't want to place another diamond for a good while. And if I ever do another diamond painting again, it will definitely be smaller than this one. I do love how shiny and sparkly it is, and I'm super excited to hang it on the wall in my office. The colors are more bright and pastel than the original art, but I don't mind the pastel colors. It goes with the rest of my office. Thank you so much for joining me through this journey of diamond painting. Also, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I'll see you all next week in my next video. Bye!